Dr. Ji-won gripped the control stick of her small research ship as the planet below grew larger and larger. The sensors had shown no signs of danger, only strange energy readings that made her curious. She was a xenobiologist, someone who studied alien life, and this world called Kethsar had promised new discoveries. The ship shook and sparked as something went wrong. Red lights flashed across every screen. Ji-won's hands moved fast, trying to fix the problem, but it was too late. The engines failed. The ship dropped from the sky like a stone falling into water. Ji-won held on tight as the ship crashed through layers of clouds. She could see the world below now. Red earth, strange purple forests, and mountains that looked like they were made of glass. The impact came hard and fast. Metal screamed. Glass broke. Ji-won felt her body thrown forward, then back, then sideways. Everything became dark. When Ji-won woke up, her head hurt badly. She touched her face and felt blood, but not much. She was lucky. The ship was not so lucky. Smoke filled the cabin. Wires hung like snakes from the ceiling. Outside the broken window, she could see the strange purple forest. The air looked thick, almost like it was purple too. Ji-won checked her headband, the blue device across her forehead that held all her tools and information. It still worked. The small screen showed her oxygen levels, the air quality outside, and a map of the area. It also had a translator, very important for someone who studied aliens. She had to get out of the ship. She had to find shelter. The sun was already moving low in the sky. Night on this world was dangerous. The satellite data before she crashed had shown large heat signatures moving across the planet. Predators. Very big predators. Ji-won packed what she could carry: water, food, medicine, and a small light. She left the ship and walked into the purple forest. The trees were tall and thin, nothing like trees on Earth. When she touched them, they felt warm and smooth. Strange birds or flying creatures watched her from high branches. They did not attack, just watched with curious eyes. As night fell, the forest became dark and full of sounds. Ji-won heard roars in the distance, big roars, the kind of roars that made her heart beat very fast. She ran, looking for shelter. Her headband's light cut through the darkness, showing her the path. Then she saw it, a cave in the side of a mountain. Its opening made of crystal-like material that glowed softly in the darkness. Ji-won ran into the cave and found that it went deep underground. The walls were smooth and covered with the same glowing crystal. It was beautiful and strange. She walked deeper, looking for a place to hide. The cave branched into many tunnels, and she chose one at random. After walking for what felt like a long time, she found a small room where the crystals on the walls were very bright. It felt safe. She sat down, pulled out her emergency rations, and ate slowly. Outside the cave, she heard the roars again. Closer now, much closer. The sounds of something big, walking and hunting. Ji-won turned off her light and sat very still. Hours passed. The sounds outside changed. Multiple creatures, not just one. They were fighting or playing, she could not tell. Their calls were strange and deep. Then slowly, the sounds moved away. Ji-won did not sleep that night. She stayed awake, listening, waiting. When dawn came, the cave filled with soft blue light from the crystal walls. She was still alive. That was good. Over the next few days, Ji-won explored the area around the cave. She gathered food, strange fruits that her headband said were safe to eat. She found water from an underground stream. She was building a camp, a place to survive until she could fix her radio and call for help. But there was a problem. Her ship's radio was broken, and without the right parts, she could not repair it. She was stuck here. On the fourth day, while looking for supplies in a valley near her cave, Ji-won heard voices, actual voices, intelligent voices. She moved carefully toward the sound. Behind a group of large rocks, she found them, a group of tall but thin humanoid creatures. They had blue skin and large eyes. Their clothes looked handmade and poor. They worked with their hands, building something from wood and stone. Jiwan's headband quickly translated their language. They were the Kethrin, the native people of this world. They lived as slaves under the rule of the Vexthari, the big red creatures with claws that she had heard roaring at night. The Vexthari were the predators. The Kethrin were the prey. One of the Kethrin saw Jiwan. He screamed and pointed. All of them stopped working and stared at her. They had never seen anything like her before. She was small and smooth-skinned with no fur or scales. Her headband glowed softly. They thought she was some kind of demon or spirit sent by the Vexthari to punish them. Jiwan raised her hand slowly to show she was not a threat. But they did not understand. They ran away from her, back toward their settlement. Jiwan stood alone in the valley, wondering what would happen next. She did not have to wait long. Within an hour, she heard heavy footsteps. Big footsteps. She hid behind the rocks and watched as a Vexthari scout appeared. It was massive, easily 12 feet tall, with red skin and long claws on its hands. It moved with the grace of a hunter, its eyes constantly scanning the area. The scout was looking for something. Looking for her, Jiwan realized. Jiwan knew she could not run and hide. She could not fight. She had no weapons that could hurt something this big. She had to use her mind. She had to be smart. She waited until the scout moved away from her hiding place. Then, using rocks and loose earth, she created noise on the other side of the valley. When the scout heard the noise, it ran toward it. Jiwan ran in the opposite direction back toward the cave. She made it back to the cave without being caught. She knew the Vexthari would keep hunting for her, but she also knew something else. The Kethrin had run to her, not away from her when they finally understood she was not a threat. The Vexthari hunted and killed. But the Kethrin, they worked and built. They had intelligence. They had hope. Maybe, just maybe, Jiwan could help them. But first, she had to survive long enough to try. 3 young Vexthari walked through the forest, their large frames moving gracefully between the trees. They were Kree, Vax, and Nyx, cubs by Vexthari standards, though each one stood nearly 8 feet tall. They were strong and fast, with sharp claws and teeth, but they were not yet fully grown. In their society, they were considered young, not yet ready to join the main warrior class. Kree was the largest of the 3. His red skin was darker than most, and his eyes were a bright orange color. He was curious about everything and did not always follow the rules. His father was a high commander in the Vexthari military, but Kree did not want to be a simple warrior like his father. He wanted more. He wanted to understand things, not just hunt and fight. Vax was smaller but quicker. His personality was different from Kree's. He was careful and thoughtful. He liked to watch before he acted. Nyx was the wildest of the 3. She loved to run and jump and explore. She had no patience for rules or duties. The 3 cubs were not supposed to be this far from their fortress. They had left without telling anyone. The reason they left was simple: boredom. Their life in the fortress was always the same. They hunted. They fought each other to practice combat. They listened to the older warriors tell old stories. There was nothing new, nothing interesting. So they ran away for the day, wanting to find something different. As they walked through the purple forest, Nyx suddenly stopped and pointed ahead. There was something on the ground, metal and broken pieces of something that was not natural. She ran toward it. Kree and Vax followed her. They found a large metal object buried halfway in the earth. It was a ship, or what was left of one. The cubs had never seen a ship from space before. They knew what it was, because the older Vexthari talked about the sky ships that sometimes came. But they had never seen one up close. They walked around it, studying it carefully. There were strange markings on the metal. Tubes and wires hung from broken holes. Inside, through a broken window, They could see smoke still rising from the interior. Suddenly, a sound made them all freeze. Footsteps. Light footsteps, not heavy like a Vexthari. Something was moving inside the forest. The cubs quickly hid behind the ship, becoming very still and silent. They were hunters, and they knew how to wait and watch. Through the trees came a figure. It was small, much smaller than the cubs. It had brown skin and walked on two legs. It wore strange clothes and had a glowing blue band across its forehead. It moved carefully, looking at the ground and the trees. It was searching for something. When it reached the ship, it stopped and looked at the broken metal. It touched the side of the ship and made a low sound, almost like crying. Kree felt something strange inside his chest. This was not a Kethran slave. It was not a Vexathari. It was something new, something he had never seen before. And it was alone. According to everything he had been taught, he should hunt it. It was an unknown creature in Vexthari territory. That was the law. But Kree did not move. He watched instead. He noticed that the creature moved with intelligence and care. It was not running around like a wild animal. It was thinking. It was planning. It checked something on the blue band on its head, and information appeared on a small screen. The band glowed brighter when the creature touched it. That blue band. It was beautiful. It glowed with soft light, and it seemed to give the creature information about everything around it. Kree had never seen anything like it. He forgot all about attacking. He was too fascinated. The small creature suddenly turned and looked directly at where the cubs were hiding. Its eyes were wide and alert. Kree realized it had heard them. For a moment, nothing happened. They all looked at each other. Then the creature slowly raised its hands in front of its chest, palms open. It did not have claws or fangs. It made a small sound that seemed to mean friendship or peace. Vax and Nyx wanted to run. But Kree stood up slowly and walked out from behind the ship. The creature did not attack. It just watched him. Kree felt no fear. He felt only curiosity. He walked closer. The creature did not move. When Kree was very close, he could see that the band on its forehead was warm and glowing. Numbers and words moved across a small screen. The creature said something, and Kree heard a strange sound. His ears picked up vibrations that his mind could understand. The band was translating. The creature was speaking his language, sort of. "My name is Dr. Jiwan," the creature said carefully. "I come from far away. I am not your enemy." Kree did not know what to say. He had never heard of a creature like this before, but something in the way it moved and spoke told him that it was intelligent. Maybe as intelligent as he was. Maybe more intelligent. Vax and Nyx came out from behind the ship. They were still nervous, but they were curious too. Nyx walked right up to Jiwan and looked at her headband closely. "What is this?" Nyx asked. "It helps me understand your world," Jiwan said. "It shows me information about the air, the water, and the plants. It also lets me talk to you." "It is beautiful," Kree said. He could not stop looking at the glowing blue band. Something about it made him feel different. It made him feel like there was more to the world than hunting and fighting and following the old ways. Over the next hour, Jiwan talked to the three cubs. She told them about her ship, about how it crashed. She told them about her home on a world called Earth, far away in space. She told them that she studied life, that she wanted to understand how different creatures lived and thought. She told them about peace and cooperation. She told them that intelligent creatures did not have to kill each other all the time. The cubs listened, and for the first time in their lives, they heard that there was another way to live besides the way of the Vexthari. They heard that thinking could be as valuable as fighting. They heard that small creatures with intelligence could be as important as big creatures with strength. When it grew late and they had to return to the fortress, the cubs did not want to leave. Kree asked if they could come back and talk to Jiwan again. Jiwan said yes. She could use allies. She could use young Vexithari who did not think exactly like their parents. As the cubs walked back toward their home, Kree could not stop thinking about the glowing blue headband. It was not just beautiful. It was powerful. It was different. And it represented something he had never thought about before, a different way of being powerful, not through teeth and claws, but through knowledge and understanding. He knew things would change after this day. He could feel it. The three cubs had found something more interesting than hunting. They had found a new way to think about what it meant to be strong. For 3 weeks, the three cubs visited Jiwan in the Crystal Cave. Each time they learned something new. Jiwan taught them to think about problems in different ways. She taught them to look at situations and ask why things happened, not just how to win fights. She taught them that being clever could be better than being strong. One day, Kree came to the cave with a problem. Another young Vexithari, a cub named Rock, had challenged him to a fight. This was normal in their society. Young males fought each other to prove who was stronger and better. Whoever won would gain respect and a higher place in the group. Whoever lost would be pushed down, losing respect and possibly being sent away to work alone. "I do not want to fight him," Kree told Jiwan. "Not because I'm afraid. I think this fighting is stupid. We both might get hurt. And for what? Just to say one is better than the other? But if I refuse, I will look weak. Everyone will think I am not brave." Jiwan sat on a rock and thought for a moment. "What do you want people to respect about you?" she asked. "I want them to think I am smart," Kree said. "I want them to listen to my ideas. I want to lead, not just fight." "Then show them that," Jiwan said. "When Rock challenges you, accept the fight, but fight differently. Use your mind, not just your strength." The next day, the fight happened in front of many other young Vexithari. Rock was big and strong and angry. He ran straight at Kree, ready to hurt him badly. But Kree did not run toward Rock. Instead, he moved to the side. Rock crashed into a tree. The impact knocked the air out of his body. Rock got up, angrier now. He tried again. Again, Kree moved out of the way, letting Rock's own strength work against him. This happened again and again. Rock became tired and confused. He was swinging at empty air. Kree was not attacking, but Rock could not touch him. After a long time, Rock fell down, too tired to fight anymore. Kree had won without throwing a single punch. The other young Vexithari were amazed. They had never seen a fight like this before. Most fights ended when one person knocked the other one down, but this was different. Kree had used cleverness. He had used understanding of how the body worked. He had not needed to be the strongest to win. Rock got up and looked at Kree with new respect. "You fight like a hunter," Rock said. "Like you understand your enemy before you even start." News of the fight spread quickly. More and more young Vexithari wanted to talk to Kree. They wanted to know how he did it. Kree told them about thinking, about understanding, about using intelligence. He did not tell them about Jiwan yet. That would be too dangerous. But he started teaching the ideas that Jiwan had taught him. Vax and Nyx helped spread these ideas too. Vax was especially good at explaining complicated thinking. Nyx was good at showing people that new ideas were exciting and interesting. Slowly, a group of young Vexithari began to gather around the three cubs. They were interested in a different way of doing things. But not everyone was happy about this. The older warriors, the commanders, they noticed the change. They saw young Vexithari sitting together and talking instead of fighting. They saw young Vexithari asking questions instead of just following orders. They did not like it. The old commanders believed in the old ways, strength, obedience, and fighting. They thought this new way was weak and wrong. One night, one of the older warriors, a big scarred commander named Vrel, came to talk to Kree. "I hear you are teaching the young ones strange ideas," Vrel said. His voice was cold and dangerous. "I hear you are telling them that thinking is better than fighting. This is very foolish. Our strength comes from our power, not from being soft and quiet." I am not saying power is bad, Kree replied carefully. I am saying that using your mind makes you even stronger. A smart fighter always beats a strong fighter who does not think. Words, Vrel said and walked away. But his eyes were filled with anger. After that, Kree knew that danger was coming. The old order was being challenged. They would not let it change easily. Then something happened that changed everything. One of the young Vex-Thari cubs, a cub named Hent, became very sick. He had been hurt in a hunting accident, and the wound had become infected. The old healers said he would die. There was nothing they could do. But Jiwan had medicine in her emergency supplies. She had antibiotics, special medicine that could fight infections. Kree brought Hent to the crystal cave where Jiwan was staying. Jiwan looked at the wound and knew exactly what to do. She gave Hent the medicine. Within days, Hent was getting better. Within 2 weeks, he was completely healthy. All the Vex-Thari were shocked. This strange human had saved a life with just small pieces of medicine and knowledge. They had never seen anything like it. The old warriors could not explain it. The old healers did not understand it. But the young Vex-Thari understood something important. This human had something valuable to teach them. Word spread through every Vex-Thari settlement. There was a strange human who could do impossible things. There was a human who knew secrets that even the oldest commanders did not know. And 3 young cubs, Kree, Vax, and Nyx, were learning from this human. The question was simple but dangerous. Would the old order allow this to continue, or would they try to stop it? Kree knew the answer. He knew the old order would fight back. But now, he had something more than just ideas. He had proof that a different way could work. He had saved a life. He had shown that intelligence and knowledge were as valuable as teeth and claws. And he had the 3 blue headbands that Jiwan had created from salvaged ship parts. Each headband glowed the same soft blue as her own. When Kree put one on, the other Vex-Thari looked at him differently. They saw him as a leader. They saw him as someone with knowledge and power. The headbands were symbols. And symbols, Jiwan had taught him, were very powerful things. They could change how people thought about the world. Kree looked at Vax and Nyx, each wearing their own glowing blue headband. The change is starting now, he told them, and there is no stopping it. But he was also nervous. He knew powerful people would try to stop them. He knew there would be fighting. He knew some would die. He did not want that. But he could not go back to the old way either. He had seen something better, something more, something true. And now, the whole world of the Vex-Thari would have to face that truth, whether they wanted to or not. The war did not start with a big explosion or a grand battle. It started quietly, with arguments and disagreements. The old commanders said that the young cubs were dangerous. They said the new ideas were making the Vex-Thari weak. They said that Jiwan was a spy sent to destroy their civilization from inside. They said the headbands were a curse, not a blessing. But many young Vex-Thari did not believe the old commanders anymore. They had seen that intelligence worked. They had seen that new ways were possible. They had seen Hent come back from death because of medicine and knowledge. They had seen Kree defeat Rock using only cleverness. The young ones were starting to question the old order for the first time in their history. The first real violence came when Supreme Enforcer Crash, the most powerful commander in all the Vex-Thari civilization, decided to act. Crash was old and very strong. He had killed hundreds of enemies in his life. He did not believe in anything except power and fighting. He saw the new movement as a direct threat to his control. Crash came to the main fortress where Kree lived with many other young Vex-Thari. He arrived with armed warriors, all wearing the old red armor, all carrying weapons. He demanded that all the blue headbands be removed and destroyed. He demanded that Kree, Vax, and Nyx be arrested for spreading lies and weakening the Vexthari people. But something unexpected happened. When Crash made his demands, the young Vexthari did not obey. The ones wearing the blue headbands stood in front of Kree, protecting him. Even the ones who did not wear headbands refused to move. They had made a choice. They wanted to support Kree and the new way. They did not want to go back. Crash was shocked and angry. No one had ever refused his orders before. He was not used to anyone saying no. He raised his hand to attack, but then something stopped him. Kree stepped forward, and he was not alone. With him came the Kethrin, the slave people who worked the fields and built the cities. The Kethrin had weapons in their hands. They had organized while the Vexthari were fighting among themselves. Jiwan had gone to the Kethrin after the first violence started. She had told them that this was their chance. She had told them that the young Vexthari were trying to build a world where everyone could be free and equal. She said that if the Kethrin joined Kree now, they could help build this new world. The Kethrin had been slaves for thousands of years. They were ready to fight for freedom. The battle was unlike anything the Vexthari had ever experienced. Crash and his warriors were stronger and faster than the Kethrin. But they were not smarter. Jiwan had trained the Kethrin in tactics and strategy. She had taught them to use the land and the buildings to their advantage. When Crash's warriors ran forward, the Kethrin retreated. The Vexthari ran into ambushes. When the Vexthari split into smaller groups, the Kethrin attacked from all sides. Kree fought too, but not like a simple warrior. He led his followers, showing them where to stand and how to move. He used intelligence, not just strength. When Crash tried to challenge him directly, Kree did not meet him in battle. Instead, he led Crash into a building where the ground beneath Crash's feet was weak. Crash fell through the floor into a deep hole below. He was hurt, but not dead. When Crash pulled himself out, bleeding and tired, he saw something that made him stop. He saw young Vexthari and Kethrin standing together. He saw them protecting each other. He saw them working as one group, not as masters and slaves. And he saw the blue headbands glowing in the sunlight. Kree walked down to meet Crash. The Supreme Enforcer was on his knees, hurt and tired. Kree could have killed him. He should have killed him by the old law. But Kree did not attack. Instead, he asked a question. "Why do we fight?" Kree asked. "Why do we have to kill each other to decide who leads? What are we fighting for? What will we win?" Crash looked at Kree, and for the first time, he saw something other than an enemy. He saw a young Vexthari who was thinking, who was asking important questions, who was trying to build something new instead of just destroying what was old. "I do not know," Crash said slowly. "I only know the old way, the way of power and strength, the way of fighting until you win." "There is another way," Kree said. "A way where strength serves intelligence. A way where power is used to build, not just to break. A way where we all work together instead of fighting each other." Crash was silent for a long time. Then he nodded very slowly. "I am too old to change," he said. "But I am tired. I am very tired of fighting. If this is the new way, I will not fight against it anymore." News of Crash's surrender spread quickly. Other old commanders saw that the Supreme Enforcer had given up. Some of them also chose to stop fighting. Some of them chose to join the new way. Not all of them. Some still believed in the old order and fled to other settlements. But the main fortress was now controlled by Kree and his followers. The Kethrin were free. After thousands of years of being slaves, they stood up and claimed their freedom. Many of them cried. Many of them did not know what to do with their freedom at first. They had lived so long under control that they had almost forgotten how to make their own choices. But Kree helped them, Vax helped them, Nyx helped them, and Jiwan helped them most of all. She taught them that freedom meant responsibility too. Freedom meant working together to build something good. Freedom meant thinking about what was best for everyone, not just for yourself. Within a month, the main fortress began to change. The old weapons were put away. The fighting arenas were turned into schools. The Kethrin and young Vexithari worked together, building new structures and planning for the future. Crash, the old Supreme Enforcer, began teaching the young ones about the history of their people. He told them about the old ways, so they would never forget where they came from, and he told them why the new way was better. Kree stood on the highest tower of the fortress and looked out at the world below. His blue headband glowed softly in the evening light. He could see fields where Kethrin worked happily. He could see young Vexithari studying and learning. He could see buildings being built with care and skill, not just built quickly by slaves. Vax and Nick stood beside him. They were also wearing their blue headbands. "We did it," Nick said. "We actually did it. We changed the world." "We started to change it," Kree corrected her, "but the real work is just beginning. Now we have to build something that lasts. We have to make sure that this new way becomes strong enough that it never goes back to the old way." Below them, Ji-Wan was training a group of Kethrin and young Vexithari in new skills. She was teaching them about medicine, about building, about technology. She was giving them tools to build a better future. The change had come. It was painful and hard and bloody sometimes, but it was real, and it was only the beginning. Fayad.